Wait, hold on, let me be a good YouTuber. If you want to find out how much Max sold for, hit the like button first, or else you'll never find out.
You know what's interesting is like,
It's crazy. They're gonna hit the like button, they'll still never find out.
You know what's crazy is you could till you're blue in the face, tell someone, be like, guys, hit the like button, and they could be sitting there and be like, I ain't doing it.
And welcome back to a very exciting episode of the Careful Boys. Today we have Maxx Chewning with us for the first time. Yeah. All right, man. Obviously, inaugural episode. We gotta have our fans get to know you. We gotta get to know you. I have no idea who you are except for sour strips.
Yay!
Candy guy.
Come on, we'll get into that. Who are you? How do you know Bart? Because Bart brought you in. All the good stuff.
Well, you're way more OG than I am by like years.
Yeah, he's a grandfather.
I think people consider you OG and they forgot who I am completely though.
I'm like, so I started YouTube like in the fitness space back in like 2013, and I mean, I'm sure you can tell, but like,
You're buff.
pretty jacked.
Look at the veins.
But my thing back in the day was being the guy who could deadlift a lot of weight, but doesn't look like he can lift any weight. So, yeah,
Like the Anatoly.
yeah.
Like the original.
Yeah. But they would call him the deadlift bra.
It's one of those like names like you don't know where it came from, but then it like coined into. I made T-shirts that like myself lifting called Deadlift Bra. Yeah, I just like could lift a lot of weight on the deadlift, and that was like my claim to fame. Like what I became kind of like that was my niche in the fitness community.
What was it, like 6+, right? Dang.
Wow. 650 at my peak. Dang. And then I started getting hernias and everything. Now I've like actually retired powerlifting. Which do you still powerlift?
Every now and then.
Loser.
Bro, the older you get, it's just like not worth it. I don't know. But deadlifted, got into powerlifting, made videos for like on a weekly basis for over a decade now, like super consistently. Wow. And then
what made him unique though was in the fitness space, everyone usually like wore fitness clothes. He was like this 9-to-5 corporate dress shirt guy in his vlogs, and then he would go train like powerlifters, and then
in your suit.
I was basically Superman.
And then he would go back to like dress shirt and slacks and stuff all the time.
Well, I was from the East Coast, like Virginia, and like it was so funny because I just had to dress up. So for like the first part of my like YouTube career, I worked on 9-to-5 as like a corporate recruiter. So I would like work 9 to 5, then make my videos like afterwards, go to the gym. So, but what's wild is like me going to work, I had to wear like a tucked in button down. But in the fitness community, everyone like thought, they were like, man, this guy is like the style king, man. He look at that. He wears the button down and like these slacks. And it was so crazy because I'm like, no, this is just what I had to dress like for work.
He's dressing like the basketball players on game day.
Yeah. But it was one of those things that like I thought I had to be the guy that like had a job and made fitness so I could be like as relatable as possible. And then I started like battling with that, and then eventually I quit in 2016 and flapped my wings and followed my dreams.
That's cool.
Wait, was following your dreams like specifically fitness content?
Yeah, I mean, I was like, so like in 2016 was when I started making like enough money from like first like year or two, like I didn't really make any money, and then I started this like clothing brand, started making some money from that, and started having like sponsors, and so I started making enough that was like supplementing my job, which I was only making like $40K at my job.
What's considered enough at the time for you?
I think I tracked my finances for a while, and I think I was making like $70K a year on YouTube, or like through my YouTube.
That's
like,
pretty good.
Yeah,
it's more than us now.
It was just like it's a
You want to buy us out?
And so it was like consistent enough over time that I tracked it. And then I was able to leave my job in 2016, but it was like right at that time I kind of did which I got a lot of inspiration from, the Barbell Brigade and like, Christian with opening the gym. As I opened this little like training facility in Northern Virginia right outside of DC right at that time. So I quit my job and then immediately, because I didn't want to quit and just like have more time to watch Netflix, right? I wanted to do something. So me and a couple of my buddies went in together in this warehouse for this like gym. So one could like run his clothing business, one could run his personal training business, and I could like make videos without getting kicked out of the gym and run my clothing business. So we opened this gym called District Barbell and started going down that road, and then I just went full like content creator mode. Cool. And then so 16 to 18 did that, then got convinced to move to Texas because I was visiting a lot, my friends out in Texas. Moved to Texas in 2018, still full-time YouTube kind of mode, doing the clothing thing. And then we started the candy business in 2019, and then my whole life has kind of changed since then. Then I went full business mode into the candy, and now I still make content on a regular basis.
How did the transition? Yeah. I could see the corporate world wearing suits into deadlifting, into fitness content, into opening a gym. But then candy business is like, how the fuck?
Yeah, Willy Wonka doesn't want to get fit.
That's the question.
It's the opposite. It's like a dentist selling candy.
It was like was there anything in your videos like that you were like obsessed with that everyone would be like, oh, in Bart's videos he always does this or eats this?
The one thing that is always in my videos, I never capitalized on it, and I probably should have, was my hair.
Yeah.
They're like, what gel do you use? Because after 2 hours of training, your hair is still the exact same.
Yeah, it could have been like
After
Bart's
after
goo or
30
something.
years, your hair is exactly the same.
That's true.
After jiu-jitsu, your hair's like that.
Even after a bicycle helmet, it still looks like that.
I can see it now. Bart's special goo and like put it in the hair and it'd be great. No, I mean, well, candy. If you like watched my content over the years, I've been like a candy fanatic like my whole life. Like ever since I was like 10 to now, I like whenever I go down like a gas station, I'm like walking to the candy store to or the aisle to see what's there, and I'm just
Top 3 candies.
sour chip. At this stage, no, I just always like I've always loved like candy, specifically gummy candy, specifically sour candy, and I was just like always a fiend for it, eating a ton of it. Sour gummy worms, I mean, you know, the sour straws, like just anything. I mean, that's the thing is like in the candy world, there's only so many brands, like these big behemoths, but there's only so many different like candies, right? So I was always eating them in my videos when I go to expos, and people would come and wait to see me in line. They'd bring me candy from their state, country, whatever, and I was just like the candy guy. So then I got a lot of inspiration from Christian Guzman, one of my good friends, who started 3D Energy, because he was like, as weirdly enough, he like popularized like the white monster like on YouTube. He was just like, he started drinking these, and I was like, oh, he always drinks those in his videos, and you go to the store and you're like, try it, and it's good, and so I actually got influenced by him. So he started this energy drink company, which is out of left field, and I was like, well, that makes sense. He's the energy drink guy, you know, he launches energy drinks. So I just had this goofy idea to start a candy brand, but it wasn't like this big business, like, oh, I saw a gap in the market and I see this opportunity and no one's launching CPG and I'll do this big brain. It was just, I really like candy. I kind of know what people who really like candy would want in a candy, so I'm just gonna start it and we'll figure it out kind of like step by step. So.
At the same time, it's very authentic though, because people in the fitness community are always looking for like simple and fast digesting carbs. So there was also a time where you would see all the fitness influencers either chowing down on gummy bears or, you know, other types of candy, Jolly Ranchers, mid-workout, before the workout. So it wasn't like, I felt like there was some sort of synergy between your fitness and the candy.
It's one of those things that like it's, I always say it's like the fitness community is like the strangest like demographic to launch like a candy in, but it makes the most sense because I think it shows the general population that if like fitness freaks can like eat candy and like balance it in their like health and wellness journey, right? And aren't like freaking out about maybe like sugar, and there's like, yeah, you know, you use it in moderation and you can still do it, and here's some of the benefits maybe for the gym. But that wasn't like my strategy. It was just like I happened to be in the fitness community, launched a candy brand, and then now it's crazy because we're sold in like so many gyms. We're sold in like Gold's Gym, like corporate. We're sold in like
Barbell Brigade has it.
Yeah, it's wild. So it just happened to be that fitness community. Launched it on my 30th birthday. I didn't know at the time. I was at the peak of my career. Like you never know. So like views were like at the all-time high. I launched this like secret project. It was like my 30th birthday. So it was this big hype around this like secret project. And then when I launched it, candy made sense. My audience was like, oh, of course Max came out with candy, right? He's like the candy guy on his videos, always eating candy. So, and then it was like off to the races. And then from there, it just kept snowballing. And I kind of had to just be like, okay, let's scale it and scale it and scale it. And then before you know it, it's, you know, been 5 years, and we launched with like 20,000 units. And now we sell like millions of bags like a month. It's a lot of candy.
And then Hershey bought it.
Yeah.
That's how crazy. That's how fucking crazy the fucking
As
trajectory.
we started September 2019, and then November of 2024, we got acquired by Hershey.
Okay, before we get to the greatness, aka like the finish line, which everybody wants.
I like to bust first and then do foreplay.
You want to bust first?
No, I'm just kidding. Go do it.
That's called a reverse cowgirl, I think.
I'm not sure that's what it is, but I like that.
In Texas, that's what they call it.
Reverse deadlift.
Reverse.
When having this idea of being like, I want to make a candy, like, did you have a connect in the industry? Like, how do you just go like, I want to make this? Who do I call to make this? Where do I manufacture?
Wait, hold on. Let me be a good YouTuber. If you want to find out how much Max sold for, hit the like button first, or else you'll never find out.
You know what's interesting is like
It's crazy. They're gonna hit the like button. They'll still never find out.
You know what's crazy is you could till you're blue in the face, tell someone, be like, guys, hit the like button, and they could be sitting there and be like, I ain't doing it. I ain't doing it. I'm never doing it. I'm not gonna do it.
Just because you told me.
Yeah.
Hit the dislike button.
No, they're gonna do that. They're down to do that.
They're gonna do it now because you.
You know what's so crazy is with the candy thing, I get asked this a lot of like, hey, how did you find a manufacturer for the candy? But it's funny because like when I have buddies with like drinks or anything like that, like clothing, like no one's ever like, how did you do this? They'd assume you like just Google. And that's like what I did, right? So I originally started the idea with a couple buddies because Christian with the energy drinks, he had these like business partners behind the scenes because he was just gonna be the face of it and launch it. So I was like, okay, well, Christian is doing Alpha Lead and he's doing all this crazy business guy, but he has business partners for the drinks. Then there's no way I can do candy by myself. I need business partners. So I actually like started with this idea with two of my buddies who had no background in CPG. They were just like, they were rich real estate business guys. So I was like, business guys, they'll be good at business, right?
But they know land though.
Yeah, exactly. But I was like, whatever. So I was like, I'll be the face of it. I'll just like promote it on my channel. But we went down the rabbit hole for like 6-7 months of like, I mean, literally just Googling. It's like candy manufacturers, depending on what you want, like sour, we were going towards like sour belts or sour like kind of bites, like shorter pieces. So it was just like, candy manufacturers in the United States, candy manufacturers, like bulk candy manufacturers, we're just lots of different Googles, calling places, emailing them. But the problem is a lot of these manufacturers, they if you come up to them and be like, hey, I want to launch a candy brand, they're like, okay, cool, our minimum run is, X amount of like this or that, or they're not really gonna take you seriously because, I mean, you don't see new candy. Now you kind of start doing, but like you don't see these new candies kind of coming out too much. So just a lot of Googling. But we ran into a lot of roadblocks and like we couldn't figure out manufacturing. No one was taking us serious with these business partners. And the idea kind of fizzled out. This is right before I moved to Texas in like early or like late 2018. So then I kind of gave up on the idea for like probably 4 or 5 months while I moved. And then I was like, all right, I'm gonna figure this out. And I just went back to literally like Googling, and like eventually just like with clothing and it's kind of like with clothing, you eventually find Alibaba or AliExpress and you start realizing, hey, there's manufacturers that do stuff, and you start small and then you just kind of expand from there. And that's essentially the same kind of thing as you find a manufacturer that maybe has like a base product you can tweak or a base product you can build a brand around, or just like, you just got to get started with the idea, right? Because just like with clothing, the first t-shirt you come out with is not going to be the final t-shirt that you sell 5 years later. So I just needed to get the ball going and get like a product that I was like, okay, I like this, the masses will like this. I can start with this base and we'll kind of adjust and move from there. And that's what I did, is found a manufacturer that had a great product, built a brand around this sour belt type of candy, and then over time scaled and started outgrowing these manufacturers and had to find a new manufacturer. So we've switched manufacturers a couple years ago, and from there it's just like improving. But it was not like a cheat code that I was building a candy brand for like by someone who really loves candy. So I kind of knew what people would probably think about the candy, think about the packaging, what they would like, what they would dislike, because I'm the consumer for this thing. So even
you're like, making it for yourself pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. And like certain decisions that like weren't like super business strategic, but more of just like intuition and gut, was even the fact that, I mean, I kind of carved sour strips into this like premium price category where, if you get 3.5 ounces of sour strips in a bag, it's going to cost more than 3.5 ounces of like gummy worms, probably by like $1.50, but I couldn't compete on price. So I'm like, do I either, make 2 cents a bag and never be able to scale the business, or do I charge an extra $1.50? And I was like, I bet people, even if they maybe aren't balling out of control, will drop an extra $1 just to even try it. Then they'll find out that they like it even more. And I think that younger me would pay an extra $1 or $1.50 for a, my opinion, a superior candy. And that was kind of like my guess in the market, and it worked out. And to this day, it's like no one had this like premium pricing, because I remember when I first sold into stores, some people were like, why would anyone buy this for $3.50 if you can buy this bigger bag for $1.50? I'm like, because it's better. I don't, it tastes better. And then the market will decide if like what you're deciding, like the market will decide if the product is like a fit for the world, right? Yeah. And we proved the market wanted it. We proved that like we could kind of bring candy into a cool kind of the modern social media space with the branding, the packaging, the products are great, and then we just scaled it from there. But we had a lot of factors that were to our benefit. Is like we launched the peak of my career, then COVID happened, which made our online sales go through the roof. So we had cash coming in the business and making all this margin. Then when COVID ended, then the stores are trying to get people into stores. So we had all these major retailers reaching out to us because we created this boom during COVID, which we couldn't plan for. Then we had the success,
COVID's awesome.
COVID was pretty cool.
So you were just strictly direct to consumer when you started for the first 3 years or whatever?
Well, I'd say for the first like year to year and a half, like that was, I'd say for the first like 2-ish years, we were probably like 85% of our revenue was coming from direct to consumer. Oh, wow. But I remember talking to some people in the space that were like, one day that's going to flip. I'm like, no way, there's no way. Because we're crushing online. But eventually, like your sales start slowing down because with a consumable product like that, like people want to buy it at the store. They don't want to buy it online, wait 4 days, it comes in, it got smashed up from the UPS people or something. So they want to buy it at the gas station right there. So you have to get into retail. But I didn't know the first thing about like how do I get it there? How do I ship it? What price do I sell it to? Oh, there's distributors. They have to, eat as well with their margins. So like what price do I do? So I was like making up prices. And then you start out kind of like screwing yourself because you're selling it probably for too cheap, right? And because these people you'll take advice from like distributors like, oh, I need this margin, but they'll actually take less margin, but they're just kind of saying numbers.
So they could have a bigger margin, yeah.
You don't have economies of scale early on in your business, so you can't like, you can't do a lot of things until you get bigger, then you can negotiate pricing and your terms can get better. But it's just this like world that I just was like, oh, I'm gonna start a candy brand because I like candy. And then it turned like years later, it was like, oh shit, I got like an actual business with employees and like big retailers like Target and Walmart hit me up, and there's like so much logistics going on to it. So I had to really figure it all out.
So they all came to you?
Yeah.
How did they catch wind of your success?
It had to have been social media. I remember so we launched in September 2019, and then in October of 2020, I got an email from Target, the Target buyer, that was like, up until this point, every store that we've gone into, the companies have come to us, which is crazy. We got an email from Target. It's like, hey, I saw your brand online, interested in your product, right? And I remember posting on my story and like blurred out the person's name, but I put like at Target, like at Target email, and I was like, oh my god, like Target's interested in the candy. I was like, ah. And then like an hour later, I'll never forget this. Like an hour later, I get another email from Walmart. And they're like, we're interested in your product, but please don't post this email on your Instagram.
Because
they were like looking, but then they saw that Target did it, and it was kind of like, if I never posted Target, would they have waited longer? Like, who knows?
Wow. Bro, I would have deleted, thought it was a scam.
So we launched into Target. The original test was going to be like 300 stores. Then it turned into, the actual test ended up being 1,300 stores, which they have like 2,000. So it was like 70% of Target. So that was massive. But when you go into retail, you're gonna make a lot less margin. You have these like 60 to 90 day payment terms that they're not gonna pay you until like 60, 90 days after they get the product. So you have to front all this money for this crazy big launch, right? So you gotta buy it all 3 months ahead of time, all this money, get it all ready. It goes in the store. That's been about 2-3 months. Then it's 3 months before you get paid on that. But in that time period from when you launch to when you get paid, they're still placing orders, so you still got to be ordering product, so you're still like burning cash. So like,
and it has to do well.
Exactly, yeah. So it's like, you know the money's coming, but you have to like float it. So there was like, when we launched into Target, that was like the luckily the only time that we like got like down to almost baseline flat with the company of like money. And I was like, I know this money's coming in, but I almost was like, I might need to take investors. But we were able to kind of weather that little storm because we had all this cash from selling online and me not going out and buying a bunch of Lambos and shit. So, but then it was like self-sufficient. So I started the business with like $50,000, and then I never took investors, never took any partners. So it was just amazing. Like self-sufficient. But it was a lot of like, I mean, I don't downplay like the hard work we had and the great product and the branding and all the attributes, but a lot of it was just the right idea at the right time. COVID was a huge thing that.
So you just got lucky.
It was a lot of luck. It's kind of like the lucky. It's like it's funny how like the luckier you get, like the harder you have to work. And so, but even like the people on my team, like everyone that works for me, is people that started like, hey, I need people helping me pack candy for the first launch, and people came in, and now those same individuals are the people that are like running the operations, running the marketing. So everyone has started from literally the bottom and like gone with me. So I haven't hired anyone from outside experience or like from another company. Everyone started from knowing nothing to like running the business.
Wow, that's so cool.
Man, you got to give yourself credit, dude. That's a sign of a good boss, because if you can develop someone from the ground up, because a lot of people have to poach or get outside because they need someone with experience already. So you're showing people the ropes that have no experience, and they're like a boxing guy making not boxing and fighting, but like someone that's boxing products, and now he's director of operations or whatever. Like that's
well, it's cool because it shows. It not only is a benefit to me because I don't need. It keeps your costs down because people like you're like, hey, you don't need to pay C-level executive prices because everyone's just like, I don't know what's going on, and like everyone's learning at the same time. Everyone can wear a lot of hats in the business, but then when all these different like expansions happen and people like level up, it shows all the other newer people that come on that like, oh, like there's a lot of room for growth, and a lot of times like new roles and positions don't exist until they do. It's like. We don't need a head of retail shipments until we start getting all these different retailers where now we need a whole department lead, but we didn't need that 3 months ago. And so it's like it's almost like you keep trusting in the brand and like you be a good worker, and then everything just happens. So like everyone that started are now like leading departments, leading teams, being managers, and so.
Do you think any of that ties back to like because you said one of the first jobs you had was recruiting, so I was thinking maybe like. Some of the experience you had from recruiting helped you even sort out who would be a good canvas to develop.
Not at all. No, I mean when I was at my corporate job, like I was just so involved in like YouTube that I was just like, all right, let me do enough to job to me not to get like that. But like,
but his ability to deadlift boxes was really
that's exactly it. I mean, everyone like with recruiting, it was like everyone that I hired was just like people that followed me on social media. That was like, hey, Max, fan of yours, would love to help out with the brand, and then they just kept showing up, and then when I needed someone to step up to the next level, I'm like, hey, you've been here all along, like, now I need you to lead these new people, and then that becomes, now they're a manager, and now they get a bump, and everyone sees, like, everyone leveling up, so it's almost like, if you keep believing in the brand, you see the growth of it, like, eventually we're going to need higher level roles, and Max clearly wants to like hire or like promote from within. He doesn't want to bring in outside people. So it was like the path was like very visible to all the employees. So it motivates everyone from within. But it's almost like you don't know when those roles are going to happen because they don't exist until they do. But if I'm doing my job of scaling the business, then we're going to have these opportunities.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, that is a fantastic Cinderella story that we're going to continue into how that eventually...
But hit the like button and share with all your friends.
Don't hit the dislike button. I didn't know you'd take it seriously.
Hit the notification bell as well.